Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a deep dive into the 338 Weatherby RPM, which is Weatherby's newest cartridge. So I'm going to go over some of the case dimensions for it. I'm definitely going to compare it to the rest of the 338 Magnums. And lastly, I want to go over some of the pros and cons of this cartridge. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's figure out where this cartridge came from. Well, it came from the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. And the parent case to the 6.5 Weatherby RPM is the 284 Winchester. Now, both the 6.5 and the 338 Weatherby RPM have a longer case than the 284 Winchester. But let's go ahead now and talk about the details of this 338 Weatherby RPM case. Now, the max average pressure is 65,000 psi, which is pretty high. Now let's look at the bottom of the case. The case head measures 0.473, and then near the case head at the bottom of the cartridge, the diameter is 1/2 inch, so it's 0.5000. Now let's find out how long this case is. It is 2.550, so it's just a little bit over 2.5 inches, which technically fits into that standard length action. The shoulder is pretty modern, definitely not a double radius. It has a 35-degree shoulder, which most of your older cartridges have around a 25-degree shoulder. Now, the max cartridge overall length, so with the bullet in it, is 3.380. So I think it still fits in that standard length action, which is around 3.340. All right, so the 338 Weatherby RPM is going to look probably most like the 338 Win Mag. Now, of course, it won't have a belt, and then the Weatherby RPM is going to be a little bit taller, the case length, because the 338 Win Mag has an overall case length of 2.50 inches. Now, one thing to remember, the 338 Win Mag diameter of the case is 0.513. So it is a little bit wider case than the Weatherby RPM. And next to this is the 30-06. And so the Weatherby RPM is probably going to be right in the middle, being at 1/2 inch diameter, just a tad bit longer. Now the shoulder for the Weatherby RPM is going to be a little bit more modern. It's going to be a steeper shoulder. So in the 338 Win Mag, it has a 25-degree shoulder, 30-06 has a 17, and as you remember, the 338 Weatherby RPM has a 35-degree shoulder. I just wanted to show you what it will comparatively look like next to the other cartridges. How does the 338 Weatherby RPM compare to the 338 Magnums? So the estimated velocity from SAMI, it says a 225 grain is going to be going around 2,800 feet per second. Using a 225 grain AccuBond, your energy at 400 yards is quite a bit at 2,359 foot-pounds. So it's pretty powerful. But let's go ahead and see how the rest of the Magnums compare. The 338 Win Mag, the most popular 338 caliber, it's going to have velocities around 2,800 feet per second. You might be able to get a little more, but it's roughly around 28. So it's going to have the exact same energy. Now, as we step it up, we go up to the 33 Nosler, a 225 grain bullet's going to be going 2,950. Energy, about 300 foot-pounds more at 400 yards at 26. Then we go a little bit bigger, the 340 Weatherby Magnum. It's going to be shooting a 225 at 3,000 feet per second, and that energy, 2,700 foot-pounds. So 400 more than the 338 Weatherby RPM. Now the 338 Lapua Mag shoots a 225 grain all around 3,100 feet per second, and that energy is 2,955 foot-pounds. And lastly, the fastest factory 338 Magnum is the 338-378 Weatherby Mag, and it's shooting a 225 grain at 3,200 feet per second. The energy, 3,166 foot-pounds of energy. So, the 338 Weatherby RPM is a little bit on the light side. Let's talk pros and cons of the 338 Weatherby RPM. First, the pros. I think this is one of the more efficient Magnums you'll ever see. You know, the case is just a standard length case of a little over 2.5 inches, and you're really getting some good velocity with as little as powder as you can for this cartridge. So that's a good thing. The next thing is the performance. It matches the 338 Win Mag, and that's plenty of power for anything in North America. The last pro I want to talk about, and this is a big one, this is really the main reason that Weatherby made this, is that the 338 Weatherby RPM will come in the Mark V Backcountry Ti. And so what that means is this rifle is going to have a 6-lug action, so it cuts down on weight, which will make the 338 Weatherby RPM a sub 5-pound rifle, probably 4.9 pounds, which is what the 6.5 Weatherby RPM is as well. So that is pretty awesome that you can get one of the lightest rifles on the market in a Magnum. Now let's talk about some of the downsides to the 338 Weatherby RPM. And the first thing that comes to mind is, in a sub 5-pound rifle, I really hope it has a good muzzle brake, because that is going to kick a lot for a 4.9-pound rifle. The next thing, the big elephant in the room, is how much the Backcountry Ti costs. It's going to be close to $4,000. Yeah, really expensive. So I think it's going to cut out a lot of people that might want to even try it because of how expensive this rifle is. Lastly, I have worries that it's been chambered in a 338 caliber. I think the 338 caliber is awesome, but I'm afraid it's kind of a niche caliber. Not a lot of people hunt with 338s. And with the price of this rifle, and with it not being a very popular cartridge to begin with, I don't see it having as much success as the 6.5 Weatherby RPM. Now, before I end the video, I just wanted to give you my personal, honest opinion of this cartridge. I'm lukewarm. I think for the really small market, it's going to be a pretty awesome cartridge. So it coming in a really light rifle and giving you a lot of punch, I think it's the perfect Alaskan backpacking cartridge. The problem is, as I said, I think it's too niche of a cartridge with the price of the rifle, you know, being high $3,000, and then not a lot of people shooting 338 cartridges. If it was me, I don't think I will ever buy one. If I'm going to get a 338, it's going to be the 340 Weatherby mag, because it's going to be a bit faster, and well, I just like that cartridge a lot. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this cartridge. I think it's a good one, but a little too niche. Thanks for watching.